Alright everybody, we're back, and once again we're under the hood of the truck. So over the winter I had a couple of videos about losing my heat and stuff, and so I did the radiator. When I was bleeding them out, I have two heater hoses to go to my heater core. And one is nice and squishy, the other is like a rock. So I'm going to be replacing the return heater hose going back into the engine block, and it goes right here. There's a squeeze clamp here and one on the heater core. So in order to do that, I'm going to be taking all this out. We're going to be taking the air box out. You've got two connections here for your air temperature sensor and your mass airflow sensor. You just want to set those out of the way. You don't have to take this piece off, just unhook your hose here. So it's either a flathead screwdriver or 8mm, and that loosens the clamp up. Just slide it off the pipe, and your air box all unhooks here. There's a little thing here that your air box sets in. So we're going to take the whole thing and set it over there. Now, this feed line going to the heater core has a cap on it so you can flush better. And there's a bracket here that holds both the hoses on your fender. So, and that is still kind of hard. See, I can squish this pretty good, and this one I can hardly squeeze. So we're going to take a pair of pliers on the squeeze clamp down here on the heater core. Carefully twist it off. You don't want to break your heater core. Believe me. They're hard to change in this truck, but you do have to go inside under the dash. And you are going to lose some antifreeze. Out of the heater core. So next you're going to come up here behind your alternator, and you got the same squeeze clamp. And you could reuse the squeeze clamps. I don't personally like squeeze clamps. Oh, look at all that crap. Yeah, this hose is pretty hard. If you listen, you can hear it squishing, so it's blocked pretty good. Now I did flush the heater core over the winter, so I'm pretty sure it's still good. So I do have screw-in clamps here, but I'm going to take these spring clamps off. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use yet. So we'll hold on to the squeeze clamps. And I got more hose than I needed. I got like 3 feet of hose. And the return line has a afternoon train. Sorry about that. At least they didn't honk the horn. But the heater hose is 5/8 heater hose. Now your feed line is a special line with a special quick release clip here onto the engine because they're retarded, I guess. So let's take a look at these. Wow, that's like super big. Wonder if I can. Yeah, it looks like I can squeeze it down now. Some people don't like to squeeze clamps, but I do. That looks kind of funky, so we're going to use the squeeze clamps instead of the screw clamps. No big deal. So I'm going to start the squeeze clamp. Squeeze it and get it started. So now take your hose and slowly put it back on. And what I do is I'll squeeze the clamp with one hand so the clamp's where I want it, and then push the hose on all the way and then release the clamp. There's a lip, so you can only push the hose on so far. There we go. Now, since I got extra hose, obviously I'm going to be cutting it short. But I'm also going to hook it into the holder along with the other hose. And it runs underneath everything, which I did not do. So we're going to snake it underneath all the hoses. That it's supposed to go under anyways. It's like a freaking maze. Under this one, over that one. So, looks like I'm going to have quite a bit left over here. So you might not need all 3 feet, obviously. But pretty close. So, I've got some handy do-it-yourself scissors. They're supposed to cut anything, so well, and it worked. So since we're using the squeeze clamps again, we're going to open up the squeeze clamp and get it started onto the tube. Now the older cars are much simpler than this. All they have is a thing in and a thing out. There's no special thing, hose hookups or nothing. There you go. I'm going to take this old crusty tube out. Throw it on the ground. And there you go. That's how you replace the return heater hose. Now it does snake in behind the alternator and back into the water pump with a really small section of hose, which I've already replaced because I thought that was the problem. And that here, this is the hose. It's just a simple elbow, and a lot of times it'll break down inside just like the big one, but mine was pretty clogged up too. But I did that a couple of years ago, so there's no, obviously I wasn't doing videos then, sadly, but yeah, so there's your heater hose replacement. I'm going to top off the coolant. That looked like more water than antifreeze, so luckily I do have a nice new jug of mixed antifreeze, so we'll just open that. That was really low too. Now where the heck is my antifreeze going? I haven't checked it since I replaced the radiator a little while ago, so I can't say, you know, I should have checked it again. Yeah, great. We were just having an awesome time with this heater hose. If there was a leak, I'll never find it now. So it stopped bubbling, so it's full for now. Now you don't want to start this with your air box off, because those sensors help your engine run. So we're going to mock it up for now. Set that in there. Put the tube back on. Plug in the mass airflow sensor and the air temperature sensor. Now again, I can tighten this clamp down. All I have to do is set up the air box later. Right, antifreeze on the ratchet too. Because if you start it without this, if it starts at all, you're going to throw a check engine light because those two sensors are unplugged, and most of the time it won't run right with those two sensors unplugged. So I'm going to go give it a start. Now the only reason I'm changing this hose is when I did the radiator, when I was bleeding it out, the feed line going to was hot, and the return line from the heater core itself was cold and hard, so I figured maybe that's my whole heating problem. So we're going to start the truck up. don't know if you all have seen my apparatus here before, but it's a special funnel for doing coolant, because it'll sit in there and it'll go up and down as things open up, like the thermostat, and everything gets circulated. And that's going to take some time, so if I have a problem, I'll let you guys know. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.